Hello, welcome to an unhaul, which doesn't happen around these parts particularly often, but I was looking at my shelves and feeling like I wanted to shift some books that I probably wasn't going to read again, and so this is kind of part one, sort of. So these are books that I, with the exception of one, I am definitely unhauling, and then there's another video coming up, or maybe it's gone up first, who knows, where I will explain another pile of 12 books. The first book I'm going to start with is one that I'm still slightly undecided about. I've been on the verge of unhauling this for so long. Not so long, maybe a year, year and a half. So if you have any particular thoughts or feelings on this one, let me know. But that is Red Sister by Mark Lawrence. The reason is that although the premise sounds really interesting, supposedly the author isn't a very nice person and has been quite mean to a lot of other authors and abusive to other authors, so I'm not keen on supporting him, and this is the first book in a trilogy, so if I were to read it and love it, then I wouldn't want to buy his other books. I'd just borrow them from the library, which is fine, but I also don't know if I want to read it at all. So if you have any particular opinions on that, let me know. The others I am unhauling. The first few have been earmarked for my sister. So the first one is Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. This is a really cute YA romance. I really enjoyed reading it, but I don't feel the need to keep this copy on my shelves anymore, because if I were to ever reread this, I would just reread the audio, and I wouldn't immersion read it. So I am happy to pass this one on to Natalie, who will hopefully enjoy it. Ditto with Last Bus to Everland by Sophie Cameron. I had a fun time reading it. I don't think I ever would reread it, and I certainly wouldn't reread the physical copy. I don't think I would reread it at all though, to be honest. It was cute, but it was more of a one-time thing. Then we have Cursed, which is a collection of short stories edited by Marie O'Regan and Paul Kane. I read a few of these and honestly they just creeped me out a little bit too much, so Natalie didn't actually ask for this one, but I'm going to put it in the pile for her anyway because she likes creepy stuff, so I think she actually would quite like this one, and it's a collection of short stories, so nice and easy. And then one that I'm really sad that I didn't love because so many people loved this and I just thought it was fine. I'm not going to be continuing with the series. I'm not tempted to reread it, and that is Crown of Feathers by Nikki Palpretto, which makes me really sad because it's got phoenixes in it, which is so cool, but I don't know, I didn't really connect with the characters for some reason, and maybe it was just because of the point in time when I read it. I just wasn't really in the mood for it, I don't know, but I'm not going to be rereading this, and I'm not going to be continuing with the series, so I will give it to Natalie and I'm sure that she will get lots of enjoyment out of it. Then some others that I don't have a specific home for yet, but I will offer them around the people in my building. If there are any that you particularly are interested in and you want me to send them to you, I'm happy to do that, especially if you're in the UK. And anything else will probably just go to the book swap shelves that we have at work. So the first one is The Fountains of Paradise by Arthur C. Clarke. This is classic sci-fi, which is a genre that I really struggle with anyway. I did try this one, but I unfortunately DNF'd it. I don't think I'm going to go back to it, so I'm going to unhaul it. Then we have Dramarama by E. Lockhart. This is one that I got in that box of random books, and I thought I was going to keep it, I thought I was going to read it, but actually I just don't think it's going to happen, so time to go. This one is a tricky one because it's Oh My Gods by Alexandra Shepherd, which I really like the idea of, but was really just too young for me, and I feel like I need to explain that because I love reading middle grade books and YA books throughout the whole spectrum of YA, but if they're going to be middle grade or young end of YA, then I need them to be fantasy, not contemporary. And although there are some fantastical elements in this, I mean, she's the daughter of Zeus, so there is some magic, it's really much more contemporary in style with a little bit of magic thrown in, and with the youngness of the writing, it just did not work for me. This one's really sad because it's actually signed and personalised, and I never really know what to do with a book that's signed and personalised, but I just don't feel the need to keep this on my shelf. So actually I think I might give this to my cousin, or I might give it to my cousin's parents and let them decide if she's old enough for it, because she's not quite 10 yet, so this might be too advanced. I don't really know, it depends. I don't know what her reading capability is, so I will ask her parents and then potentially give this to her. Another one that, I mean, I could potentially give this to her also is Hurricane Child by Kaysen Callender. I enjoyed this. It was a fun read, but I'm not going to be reading it again, and I feel like somebody else could get more enjoyment out of it than me. Then we have What Light by J. Asher, which I read last Christmas for my festive reading challenge, and it was a fun time, but even if you watch back that video, I didn't love it at that time either. I kept it on the basis that I might reread it again at Christmas time, and it's Christmas time and I don't feel any urge to reread it whatsoever. So that means that I don't need to keep hold of this. If I want to reread it in the future, I can just get the audiobook. Then we have another classic sci-fi. This one is The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin. I picked this up because it was the book for a book club that eventually got cancelled, and so I never read it, and I'm really not going to. It doesn't call to me, and again, it's classic sci-fi, which just really is a genre that I don't read from, like, ever. So this one's going. Then we have Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, who actually is also Seanan McGuire, which I only found out after I'd read this. Anyway, this is kind of horror, maybe thriller, I don't know. Either way, it's about mermaids, but in the more traditional, you know, dark, trying to kill people type of sense, and I really liked the concept and I liked some of the book but not all of it, and I definitely wouldn't reread this. Once was for sure enough for me, so I'm going to pass this along to someone else who can hopefully enjoy it. Then we have a self-published book. It's called The Defiant Spark by Annie Persick. This is a lady who used to work at the same university as me. She's actually left now to pursue writing full-time, which is awesome. I'm really pleased for her. I picked this up in order to be supportive, but actually I feel like I kind of want to put this on the shelf at work so that other people who also worked with her could give it a read, and I just don't think I'm going to get to it anytime soon, so I feel like that's a better place for it to sit on a shelf until I eventually am in a position to read it. So that's where this one's going to go. And then I have some ARCs, and these will either, you know, go to people in the building or be put on the shelf at work. I'm not going to be selling any of these, but particularly wouldn't be selling any of these because they're ARCs. So the first one, this isn't the final cover, is Full Disclosure by Cameron Garrett. I quite enjoyed this book. The subject matter is a little bit on the dark side, but still an enjoyable read, if you can say that, but again, I'm not going to reread it. These next two have been on my physical TBR since I was in secondary school. There were a couple of ARCs that were given out when I was in secondary school, and every time I think about unhauling them, I think, oh, but they sound really interesting, but I still haven't read them. And we're talking like, what, 15 plus years on. I'm just not going to read these, and if I do want to read them, then I'll probably want to read the finished copies and I'll borrow them from the library or something. So Meteorite Strike by A.G. Taylor and Obedience by Will Lavender. It's finally time for me to unhaul these. And then the last one, and the last ARC also, is Stormcrow by Kaylin Josephson. I got this, I think, in my very first Fairy Loot box, or one of my early Fairy Loot boxes. It's from 2019, so it's been around my shelves for a long time. I tried reading it. I think I got to about chapter 6 and I was bored, so I DNF'd it, and I kept it on the basis that I might go back to it one day, and I just never have. And if I want to go back to it, then again I could just borrow the final version from the library or something, but I just don't think it's going to happen. To be honest, I've been keeping it because it's a really nice floppy paperback and it was my first ever ARC, but I just don't need to keep this. So it's finally time to say goodbye. And that's it. How many is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, possibly 17, depending on what you say to me. Joanna's vote is that I unhaul it, so I will probably unhaul it, but let me know what you think. And yeah, I've made some space on my shelves for some more books that I will inevitably buy. And that's it for this one. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more like this from me, then do think about hitting that subscribe button, and I hope to see you here again soon. Thanks. Bye.